good news to report on nearly all fronts.
Perch patterns have been working really well.
This week's BuzzBite report. Just keep snapping it off the body.
The down imaging, the side imaging. There's a lot of different variations and different ways to rig this.
Oh, yeah! Look at this giant.
They are heavy.
Oh, look at that.
On today's show, we're talking walleye mastery.
This is AnglingBuzz TV. I'm Troy Lindner.
I'm Jim Edlin.
And today's show, again, we're talking about walleyes. Here in Minnesota, the walleye opener is next weekend. Other parts of the upper Midwest, they're already catching fish. And in the upper Midwest, walleyes reign supreme. Other parts of the country out west, trout are obviously big. In the mid-south, crappie, panfish, bass are kind of big everywhere. But today, we got to talk walleye.
Along those lines, today's show all about walleyes. We're going to investigate trophy versus number lakes. We're going to hook up with Bill Linder and see some behind-the-scenes footage of what walleyes do underwater. And you're going to learn more through our technique of the week about choosing the right crankbait for your waters.
Yeah, they are absolutely awesome fish. And I think to be successful with them, you truly have to understand the nature of the walleye. Called walleye pike by some, walleyes are actually part of the perch family. But the nickname marble eyes fits. Equipped with specially adapted cells on the retina called tapetum lucidum, the walleye's bulging, glossy, and reflective eyes are built for low-light feeding. This can make catching walleyes a puzzle, with optimal feeding windows during twilight and after dark. By the same token, walleyes are efficient feeders in waters with little light penetration. That's good news for anglers on those waters. Nothing beats a banker's hours walleye bite. Yet nothing's cut and dried when it comes to walleyes. They might have been on steep breaks yesterday, weeds today, and rocks tomorrow. Yes, walleyes can be virtually anywhere, but they will feed during the day, even on clear waters and full sun. It's just being in the right place at the right time and matching the hatch, so to speak. Could be shiners, perch in weeds, mayfly larvae over mud, or tulipies in the open basin. Still, understanding their feeding behavior is only part of it. True walleye masters have become adept at how to draw instinctive aggression strikes, even when walleyes aren't hungry. Artificial walleye waves we might have scoffed at not long ago have proven their merit. The jigging rap has become a fish-catching phenomenon. Of course, there are still situations when live bait jigging, rigging, and slip bobbering can crack a walleye bite like nothing else. But anglers are discovering that the road to walleye mastery is equal parts power and finesse. The trolling game, too, has become a real science, as anglers know precise crankbait depths can cover wide swaths of water with long rods and planer boards in all zones of the water column thanks to advances in lead core line. Today's walleye whiz also knows electronics inside and out, using GPS, high-definition lake mapping, and down and side looking technologies to understand the when, why, and where of walleye location. And not to forget advances in boat control, a huge part of the puzzle. But even with all this, is walleye mastery possible? You know, that's a great question. Is walleye mastery possible? When I think about walleye fishing, I think of this broad spectrum. On one end, you have just a spinning rod pitching little jigs, pop jigging from maybe on shallow rocks. And on the extreme end, you have like line counter reels, planer boards, crankbaits. The speed they're not getting bit at 2.8 miles per hour. You got to be at 2.6 miles per hour. I mean, when you add up all those things in the equation, it's really fascinating how technical walleye fishing can be.
It is, and I think, Troy, what's fascinating with the whole phenomenon is how walleye fishing was synonymous with live bait for decades. Mm-hmm. And now more anglers are using artificial presentations. We've seen it with the jigging wrap. We've seen it with crankbaits. We've seen it with soft plastics. We've seen it with the whole trolling game. And these guys, these anglers are successful doing that. It just goes to show you how much we are still learning about walleyes.
Absolutely. And to learn more about walleyes, sometimes seeing them in their natural habitat beneath the surface is pretty amazing to understand them better. Here's some footage from Bill Linder you have to see.
We're out here at the creek, and right now we're just watching walleye spawn, and this is incredible. We're recording them on this new HD AquaView camera that we have set out in the water, running it on a computer. Look at them run, look at those fish move. Just waves of them keep coming through. It's so cool.
You know, over the years I've shot a lot of underwater photography of fish.
Rivers are one of the primary areas walleyes run to spawn in our North Country lakes. The correct bottom is critical, which is clean rock and gravel. It's interesting how walleyes come into these spawning sites. One night there's no fish. The next night they all show up. How far did they come from? How did they show up exactly at the same time? The spawn occurs in a narrow window in spring when the water temperature rises into the mid-40-degree range. Walleyes are broadcast spawners. The female usually dumps between 300 to 400 eggs at a time during 5-minute intervals, which are then fertilized by multiple males. The eggs then fall and stick to the bottom to incubate for 10 to 20 days. The walleye eggs you see being laid here will be catchable fish in about 4 years, if they make it that long. Today, a lot of walleyes we catch are stocked fish that come from DNR stripping stations and egg factories. The reason they do this is to raise more fish in sort of a protected state, to minimize the mortality of the eggs, fry, and fingerlings, which are then stocked into lakes that don't have good natural reproduction. In many of our big lakes, natural reproduction still makes up the bulk of fish we catch.
Yeah, that's some pretty incredible stuff right there. Hey, after this break, we're coming back with some guide reports. We have our highlight destination feature and more as Angling Buzz continues.
Sportfish Michigan is your #1 source for top charter captains and fishing guides in Michigan. Our network of professionals are full-time anglers with years of experience providing customers with the best possible fishing trip services. Fish for trout, salmon, steelhead on Lake Michigan or its famous tributary rivers, the Traverse City area's world-class smallmouth bass, walleye fishing on the Detroit River and Saginaw Bay, or northern Michigan's spectacular ice fishing. We do it all. Sportfish Michigan. Get out. Get bit.
Because boaters know and follow Minnesota's aquatic invasive species laws, 98% of lakes are not known to have any zebra mussels. 95% are not known to have any kind of invasive animals or plants. Let's keep it this way. Clean aquatic plants and animals from boats, trailers, and equipment. Drain all water from watercraft, including the motor, and keep drain plugs out during transport. Dispose of unused bait properly. Together, we're preventing the spread of aquatic invasive species in Minnesota.
Explore Alexandria, Minnesota. Whether it's a long weekend or a week-long loaded with family fun, you'll find plenty of things to do in Alex. Unleash your inner explorer with over 300 lakes, beaches, parks, hundreds of miles of trails, dining, golf, shopping, museums, and history. Alexandria is Minnesota's hidden gem. Go to explorealex.com to find your vacation this season.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. Coming up next, we have our highlight destination feature. And again, today's show, you know, we're talking walleyes. And one thing I like is a big fish. We're talking that 30-inch class. Last year, I got in Hawk Lake catching some of those giant fish. And there's a number of places in the upper Midwest where you can target those really big photo fish of a lifetime.
And then on the other end of the scale, you've got those high numbers lakes, you know, some of those western reservoirs, places in the Missouri River system around Alexandria, Minnesota, and then pushing into Winnebago and even into Michigan. Sometimes it's fun to catch a lot of walleyes versus just big ones. Now, today's highlight destination, we're going to talk about some unique waters that offer both trophies and numbers, some real magical waters.
Many consider Lake of the Woods the walleye capital of the world, thanks to lots of water and fishing the entire calendar year. There's plenty of eaters and there's trophies too. Big water, the right genetics, endless spawning habitat, and lots of food mean big fish, pure and simple. Located between the Boundary Waters Canoe Area and Superior National Forest, Lake Vermilion offers a Canadian Shield experience without the long drive. Biologists report all year classes of walleyes are booming. In fact, the genetics are so good, Vermilion walleye eggs are collected to stock many of Minnesota's other walleye fisheries, not to mention their own, which keeps the lake near the top of the country's best walleye waters. Numbers and trophies, Vermilion's got it. The expansive shallow basin of Michigan's Saginaw Bay on Lake Huron is a great example of a fishery that struggled in the 1970s but is now healthy as ever. In fact, studies reveal many walleyes reach 15 inches in length in only 2 years. Wisconsin's Lake Winnebago barely pushes the 20-foot mark, but offers the food and cover walleyes need. Following strong runs of spring fish, it's the lake's shallow weed and mud flat bites that draw anglers from near and far. It's simply one of the best in the country. Minnesota's Leech Lake continues to kick out walleyes of all sizes. With gorgeous shorelines and lots of water to explore, Leech offers diverse walleye habitat that continually produces solid numbers of good fish all year long. Minnesota's central region offers some great sleeper walleye bites, like ottertail, where willing biters can be found everywhere from shallow to deep. The Alexandria area's Lake Miltona and Osakis are other walleye favorites, but Carlos, Ida, and Lahamadou are also solid producers and shouldn't be overlooked. Many call the Dakotas region walleye country, and for good reason. In the glacial lakes, anglers are reporting high numbers of 3 to 5 pound fish caught around shallow wood, weeds, and windblown shorelines. You don't even need a boat in a lot of places, with exceptional shore fishing opportunities, especially spring and fall. And then there's Devil's Lake, which keeps kicking out limits with the occasional trophy to boot. Although there's a great shallow bite, you'll find fish on all kinds of structure, from old roadbeds to wood, meaning you can pretty much catch walleyes any way you want. And that's some incredible places and opportunities. Hopefully you can go out there if you're either after numbers or that giant trophy fish. Now this year we had an early ice out. The waters are a little bit warmer right now, and the seasonal movement of the walleyes in many areas are a little bit further ahead than they have been in previous years.
Yeah, definitely, Troy. And that's good news, though, for anglers, because they're going to be able to catch fish, slip bobbers, jigs, rigs, crankbaits, a whole host of ways. And to that end, let's check in with our field reporters throughout our region who can help you dial in on the fish right now. And for the first of our Buzz Bite reports, we're checking in with Ben Wolf in Michigan.
Down here on the Detroit River, we still have an impressive walleye run. Lots of eater-sized fish are being caught. But the thing that I like in mid-May is the white bass run. We can catch them any which way you want. You know, I prefer the top water. It's such a visual bite. It's lots of fun. In the Traverse City area in the northern Michigan, like Burt and Mullet Lakes, we have a fantastic pre-spawn bite going on for smallmouth bass. Jerk baits, this is the perfect time of year to throw them. You know, a nice long cadence, 3 or 4 seconds should probably get the majority of the bites, but if you find the colder water, a blade bait could do very well as well. For more information, or if you're looking for a captain or guide in the state of Michigan, please give Sportfish Michigan a call or check us out on the web, sportfishmichigan.com.
Yeah, that slow pause is very effective for smallmouth in cold water. Pull, count maybe 2 to 4 seconds, reel up the slack, pull, pause. Very, very effective. Our next report is from Billy Rosner up on Lake Vermilion.
Opener's right around the corner and expecting a really good walleye bite out on the lake. We should have some fish shallow, some fish deep. I would start using, like a VMC Moon Eye jig, a little lighter if it's shallow water, go heavier. That deeper water, I'd concentrate on your mud flats and go 3/8 ounce, tip it with like a 3-inch rainbow minnow, beat the bottom, should have good luck there. And also, Storm has out a new bait this year, this 360 GT search bait. If you never fished plastics for walleye before, you're kind of really missing the boat. This should be a hot bite on Vermilion this year. Work the shoreline, some of your islands, some of that post-spawn stuff, that first break with these plastics, that should be a really good bite, and it's a lot of fun if you've never done that before. Have a great opener, be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Great information from Billy. A successful walleye opener, hard to beat a jig head and a live minnow, but don't overlook plastics.
Yeah, soft plastics are effective as well. After this break, we have more Buzz Bite reports as Angling Buzz continues.
Looking for the perfect fishing vacation? Leech Lake, Minnesota. There's over 112,000 acres of water to explore, with fantastic walleye, bass, pike, panfish, and trophy muskies. The fishing opportunities are endless. Leech Lake has it all, with over 30 resorts, lodges, campgrounds, and hotels line its pristine shores. Plan your trip. It's Minnesota's original up-north vacation destination.
Excel Outdoors, storage solutions for sportsmen. Cargo rack, cargo trunk, bucket caddy. Jaws of Ice, the best auger carrier ever. Hunting, the ladder stand caddy. Fish and game boards, and the extruder board. Organize your life outside. Excel Outdoors.
You have a choice, turf or surf. It's fishing season. Welcome to the outdoors. We're baiting, casting, drifting, and limiting out. The outdoors never felt so good. Catch, release, and keepers. The outdoors never tasted so good. It's fishing season. We are outdoors. Mills Fleet Farm.
Welcome back to Angling Buzz. In Wisconsin, the walleye opener just happened.
Definitely some good reports. Let's check in with Troy Peterson, who's catching fish right now in the Wolf River.
Hey everyone, Troy Peterson, Mr. Bluegill here from the Wolf River. We're in between New London and Fremont, Wisconsin here. And the males, all these nice 14, 15, 16-inch males are finally starting to come back down out of the marshes. They've done their spawning, and it's now time to get out and get them on the way down. A couple of methods that have been working really good. Dragging crawlers, 16th ounce jigs, dragging them on the flats. Vertical jigging in the deeper holes with like a 1/4 to 3/8 ounce. Otherwise too, just plain and simple, a plain split shot and a gold hook, and just dragging them along the flats. It seems like the morning bite's been really good, as well as the evening bite, and the water temperature as it's increased throughout the day has definitely increased the bite. So get out, enjoy, and we'll catch you guys on the water.
Yeah, those are great eating size walleyes. Our next Buzz Bite report, we're heading over to the Alexandria region.
Been honing in on crappies here the first week. What I've been doing, it's been working for me, is I've been looking for the bigger bodies of water. I've just been shying away from the little ones a little, just with that cold front, warming up, cold front. Seems like the smaller lakes I have found, the water will go up and the water will go down, and it'll move them fish in and out faster versus the bigger lakes. What I've been using is just a plain bobber and a little fluke jig and a crappie minnow. Looking for the mud bays, looking for that weed mud transition, and them fish are gonna play like a chess game with you. You just gotta try and use your electronics, decide imaging, looking for fish. And I've just been finding them key little points, structure, whatever that's been holding them fish in them bays. And that's how I've been catching my fish for the family for this week.
And now let's check in with the boys up on Leech Lake.
We've had 5 years in a row of fantastic fishing on opener, and I think 2017 is going to be the same. We had early ice out conditions, the walleye spawned, now the shiners are spawning, and that's what they key in on. So if the walleyes are up shallow, the fish are going to be in their traditional spots, which are Pine Point, Stony Point, Otter Tail, Sugar, Battle Point, the west side of Bear, the south side of Bear, and Diamond. I'm talking about shoreline breaks with sand and sandgrass, and where there's some wind, the walleyes will really load up. And the key is the shiner minnow. They're chasing the shiners, and most of the bait shops will have shiner minnows, spot tail shiners on a jig and a minnow. Light line, 6-pound test, trying to keep it away from the boat. I like to find a jig with a wider gap to get better hookup percentages. So Leech Lake should be another fantastic year. We'll see you up there.
And now the youngest of our Buzz Bite reporters, Peter Olson, over in North Dakota.
It's springtime, which means there's a lot of good opportunities, so let's take a look and see what they are. First, the pike are coming out of their post-spawn slumber, which means they're looking for a pretty big meal. So target points and the mouth of bays with jerkbaits and smelt under slip bobbers. The walleye fishing on the Missouri River is slow and steady, but should be picking up here soon. This time of year, look for warmer water on smaller lakes because the fish tend to be more active. One of the most overlooked species at this time of year is the smallmouth bass. There's a lot of 2 to 4 pound smallies on Lake Sakakawea and Lake Audubon that are just waiting to put up a good fight. There's one. Tonight, we're fishing glow-in-the-dark flicker tail jigs under slip bobbers for crappies, which is another great opportunity for this time of year. So don't forget the sunscreen, get some new line on your reels, enjoy spring, and that's this week's BuzzBite Report.
Thanks for the report, Peter. Lots going on. Now let's check in with Brad Durek up on the Red River, a catfish expert.
Over the last few days, things are really starting to heat up. Nice stable weathers. The spring sun's warming things up. Water temperatures are in the middle 50s. Water conditions from Wahpeton to Oslo are absolutely perfect. We couldn't ask for anything else. The fish are in hunting mode, getting ready for the spawn that's upcoming in a month or so. The best way to find them is utilize your electronics, look through the edges, and then use fresh cut sucker right on those break lines and edges. I wouldn't look to more than 15 or 20 minutes in a spot without moving. The fish are very aggressive and very hunting, so you don't even need to make big moves. Once you find the fish and where they're feeding, fish it for a while. If you don't catch a fish in 15 to 20 minutes, move 20 or 30 yards, find the next spot that looks just like the last one you're in. You should put up great numbers of great fish. There's tons of big catfish in the river right now. It's going to be one of these fantastic years. I can just feel it.
Definitely some great news from Mr. Durek in North Dakota. Man, those cats get pretty big, Troy.
Yeah, they do, and Brad is a cat master. Coming up after the break, we have our cool product segment and our technique of the week as Angling Buzz continues.
Many things have been said about rough waters, but few things have been said about a smooth ride. The revolutionary Smooth Moves Ultra is a mechanical suspension system that features a 4-spring design and a hydraulic shock, providing the most comfortable and durable ride on the market. Through passion, tenacity, and the right equipment, you can overcome even the roughest waters.
Lake Vermilion. Explore. Relax. Reconnect.
Minnesota's most beautiful lake.
Get hooked on our trophy walleye,
That's a beauty.
bass,
My favorite fish.
musky fish,
That's a beauty there.
Things to do? You'll never get bored.
Rooms with a view? We got 'em.
Lake Vermilion. 4 seasons of fun.
If you're looking at this, how do you know it's not this? If you see this, how do you know it's not actually this? Trust your AquaView and you'll see the real underwater world. AquaView leads by innovation. First in high definition, first in handheld viewing, the finest underwater optics, the brightest, sharpest screens, the original underwater camera, and the fish finder that puts you on the fish.
And now it's time for the cool product segment of today's show, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm. All of the products that we're going to cover today are going to help you on your path toward walleye mastery, and you'll have a lot more fun doing it. Starting with presentations, the jigging ramp is a real phenomenon. Over recent years, more people are catching fish with artificial baits, with jigging ramp style baits like the puppet minnow, the shiver minnow, and of course the jigging ramp than ever before. Just fantastic throughout the entire calendar year. No box is complete without them. Also for jigging, there's a new jig out from Northland called the swivel head jig. It starts with a VMC hook that you can thread on a night crawler or a piece of soft plastic. It rotates 360 degrees. It's great over rock, through grass, and helps keep fish buttoned. It's just a fantastic new jig. We all love the troll. It puts more fish in the boat sometimes a year than anything else. A guy really needs to have several styles of baits, starting with a minnow profile bait, especially big in the Great Lakes. We've got the Bagley Rumblebee, a couple different sizes and different dive curves, and some colors specifically available at Mills Fleet Farm, including Wonder Bread, which catches tons of fish. Also, the Shad Rap, man, it's been huge for decades because it catches fish everywhere. Also some exclusive colors of Shad Raps at Fleet Farm. And the Salmo Hornet, another great bait, a little bit of a different action and wobble, available in a bunch of different sizes. Again, some fantastic colors available at Mills Fleet Farm. So no box is really complete without any of these baits. And of course, no walleye trip is complete without having a shore lunch or two, whether you're someplace regional or Northwest Ontario. from this Cajun injector oil, the blue enamelware, perfect for your camp kit, to skillets of all sizes, including this 20-inch Magnum Lumberjack, which will feed an army, and it seems like everybody always shows up at the fish fry. We move from there to live bait management. New from Rapala is this floating aerator. Works on a few C-cell batteries. You drop it in virtually any bucket with live bait, and it's going to help keep them kicking. And of course, lively bait is the best bait when it comes to walleyes. And this new aerator works great. Drop it in the bucket of the Excel Outdoors Bucket Caddy system, which features 2 buckets, one for your well water, one for your water and your bait. So at the end of the day, you can move your bait into the clean well water, throw the aerator in, and use it, the next day or the day after on another lake. That helps prevent the spread of invasive species, which are a reality in our region and are affecting all of our fisheries.
A very common question is, what is the right crankbait for the depth that I'm fishing? Well, that's a big question and not easily answered with a short response. Follow-up questions could be, well, what time of year are you fishing and what kind of fish are you going after? For now, let's relate it to the time of year that we're fishing, spring, and the target species, walleye. Many walleyes have recently finished spawning as they move across to adjacent flats. Now, these baits are a great search tool to intercept wandering walleyes, which can be anywhere between 4 and 12 feet of water. This is a simple cast and retrieve. Let the lure do the work for you. When you're crankbait fishing in spring for walleyes, a couple of retrieves work best. Slow and steady, and then a slow pull, and then you kind of pick up the slack like that. Pull, and then pick up the slack. There's a little bit of a pause in between that can trigger fish into biting, but the main thing and the important thing is fishing the bait slow. This is not a sprint. These lures have a lot of attracting and triggering qualities built into them, and many walleyes at this time of year are hungry and searching for an easy meal. Speed is very important. Slow, 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 with an intermittent pause to mirror a wounded minnow, and you'll be in business. Walleye fishing can be extremely complicated and take a lifetime to be a true walleye master.
That's the truth, Troy. Hey, next week's show, an American favorite, the crappie.
Yes, and we also want to remind you to help stop the spread of aquatic invasive species. Anytime you leave any lake, please remember, clean, drain, and dry. Also, check us out online. You know the website, AnglingBuzz.com. We have all of our reports there. They're very current. We also have tips and tactics to help you catch more fish right now. We also have a great sweepstakes sponsored by Mills Fleet Farm for a fabulous weekend of fishing and fun on Lake Vermilion. I'm Troy Linder.
And I'm Jim Edlin. We'll see you on the water.
This week's Buzz Bite Report.
Tony Roach.
Ray Brolstone.
Lee Telkin here.
Brad Durick up here on the Red River.
Muskegon River.
From Sturgeon Bay.
Lake Sakakawea.
Lake Winnie region.
Northern Wisconsin.
Good luck, everybody.
Have fun. We'll see you next week.